Welcome again. We're going to talk today about selfish.
Being selfish. Usually that's kind of a negative concept. You don't want to be selfish. You want to give your love away. But this is an acronym that Dr. Batiste put together around a healthy relationship with food. And he explained it a bit on an interview that he did with Rip Esselstyn. So we thought we'd share that with you. So take a listen, see what you think.
Yeah.
Day as I lead to the big 5-0 next year.
Yeah. So for everything you just said there, is there an acronym for it, or you just kind of know?
No, that's it. Selfish.
That's the acronym. Selfish.
Selfish is the acronym. Selfish is the acronym.
Okay, so, hit me with each one more time.
Okay, so selfish. S stands for spirituality. Now that means different things to different people. Meditation, prayer, gratitude. I'm putting inside that area. Taking time just to reflect. That's S. The E stands for exercise. Doesn't have to mean cross marathoning. Doesn't have to mean swimming. It could just mean getting neat with it. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, walking around, doing different things. The L stands for love. Choosing actively to love more than hate, right? We know the impact on the vessels. We know the impact on the heart. That's tremendous. The F is the central component, which is food, real food, whole food, plant-rich food, plant-strong food. The I stands for intimacy, not in a sexual way, but intimacy in relationships that you can communicate. I give the analogy with my mom and her dog, right? My mom lives with me, and she said, "Oh, my dog is my best friend." I was a little hurt. I was like, how is your dog your best friend? I'm standing right here. But she loved the dog. And so this dog knows when she's feeling sad, when she's having arthritic pains, whatever it may be, that's there. The second S stands for sleep, something we all neglect to get our to-do list done, right? But getting real rich sleep, dreamful sleep, that's there. And the H stands for humor, for laughter. Finding something in life to laugh about. Right? Not laugh at people, but to laugh with people, right? And so whether it's a joke, whether or not it's a show, and so those things are validated in science. And so, that's one of the most important aspects, I believe, in order to achieve the goal.
Yep. So everybody out there, let's get selfish. Let's get selfish. Every day. Make it rich.
That's
Make
right.
it count. I love it.
That's right.
So Dr. Columbus Batiste, I want to thank you for joining me on the PlantStrong podcast. I want to thank you for being a trailblazer and for all the work you're doing.
So selfish. Selfish is a way in our world of health and well-being to really go deeper into our understanding of the value of various elements and the role they play in our health.
Yeah, in our health, and I particularly liked looking at each of these elements that he brings up and how they contribute to our having a healthy relationship with food.
Yes. Because
that's the bottom line. If we don't have a healthy relationship with food, we're going to be all over the place using food for,
relief.
relief. And the food that gives us that relief to a low mood or whatever, it's not healthy. So it's a healthy relationship with food that we find is the foundation for health, so that we can make those healthy choices in the midst of any situation.
Yeah, and you do such a good job of explaining this. I'm going to let you talk, and I'll add a little bit.
Okay. So if we look at the spiritual nature of things, we're not talking about a religious context here. Basically, what we're talking about is connecting with our spirit, our true nature, that innate wisdom and intelligence that runs everything in the universe is what's running everything in this body too. Like, how does my body know how to digest? It's got some intelligence far beyond my cognitive understanding.
Yeah.
I don't digest a meal because I say, okay, digest, put this acid in, it knows what to do.
Yeah,
So,
it's automatic. It's an automatic gift.
Yeah, the spiritual element can often kind of seem so out there. But what if our connection with our spirit, with our true nature, is the spiritual experience? And that's actually where we go when we encourage people to eat with presence. If they're drawn to eat something that isn't, they know isn't healthy, isn't ideal, and they eat with presence. That presence is coming into touch with that innate intelligence to see what is about that food and that experience, so they get a real relationship with it instead of the old association that this food is going to change my mood, I'll find relief, so let me do that. And they're kind of checked out the whole time. So the spiritual element of creating a healthy relationship with food is just this connection with our inner wisdom, with our innate well-being.
And when we eat with presence, when we're really in the moment as we chew and experience how the body receives the food, then we're connected to a deeper intelligence that can guide us to great health.
Yeah, it really works. It really works. We got a lot of clients that really have learned a lot from that. So the E stands for exercise. And in terms of our relationship with food, we know that exercise helps digestion. It improves digestion. It helps us sleep better at night.
It helps us stay limber and fluid in our movement as we age, especially. We notice that. Yeah, that exercise moves the lymph, gets rid of the toxins from the metabolic waste. I mean, it does so much. Stress release, all of this helps us to relate to food in a healthier way. So that exercise, and like Dr. Batiste was saying, it doesn't mean going out and doing an ultra marathon. If we just stay active, we move, get those muscles pumping. That's important. L stands for love. And I think for me, it's like, I think of love as like, love is the best way to connect with my spiritual nature. Yeah, because love is who we are.
Yeah, there you go. Love is who we are. So connect with that. And when we approach our food from love, so part of that eating with presence exercise is to really love that experience.
Yeah, feel love for the food.
Feel love for the food.
As you eat it.
Right, yeah. And, love for our experience of vitality. And when we're having that close, familiar relationship with food, we get feedback for whether this food is really nourishing us or not. Yeah. And that feedback we can learn from and guide us to what our bodies need, because each of us is unique in what our nutritional needs are. And those needs are always changing as we age. If a woman is pregnant, there's just constant change going on. And if we want the guidance from this inner intelligence, we have to hold all of our concepts about health and food lightly and listen within. And it will draw on what we've learned about food, but guide us to what we need at that time. True. Okay, so the next is food. F is for food.
Yeah.
Us. Whole food, plant-based.
Yeah, we really have found again and again that the secret to great health and longevity is whole food, plant-based. And I'm almost 80 and I don't have a pain anywhere in my really grateful for everyone who has shown us the way that whole food plant-based can deliver. It's amazing.
Well, and another thing that I've noticed about whole food plant-based that really helps people establish a good relationship with food, a healthy relationship with food, is that none of those foods in their whole form overstimulate that pleasure trap, that dopamine hit that has us then associating food with mood as opposed to nourishment.
And relief.
Yeah, and relief.
Yeah.
So it's a whole food plant-based keeps us in that kind of normal state of relating to food, not overstimulated with the pleasure of food, the pleasure that refined foods can be.
Yeah, relating to food in a real and helpful way.
Mm. And the next is intimacy. And of course, as he pointed out, what we're talking about there is basically closeness. It so often has some sexual implications, but intimacy in this sense is basically just closeness. And when we get really present and close with our food, that really is that foundation for a healthy relationship. You've got to be close. You've got to be close, you have to be present, you have to be willing to listen. So that intimacy with our food, we've told these stories before, but Bonnie was so cute when we used to teach in Edmonton. She'd sometimes take people to a health food store and they'd stand in front of the produce section and she'd say, now listen for what foods are talking to you, which foods are calling you. That's intimacy.
Yeah, that's closeness.
She's drawing on that connection that we can have with our food. That is our connection with our wisdom and the wisdom of the food.
Yeah, and we always have that connection. It's just a matter of slowing down and listening,
Yeah, that's it.
being present.
And next is sleep. Of course, that's so essential for physical repair, stress release. And so it's important for our clarity and vitality to be able to have a healthy relationship with food. We need to be rested in order to hear the wisdom that we have in terms of relating to food.
Yeah, and I go to bed early as I'm aging. I just find I want to go to bed much earlier. I go to bed usually around 8:30, and I'm at sleep by 9:30, and I like to get up at 5:30, and it just all happens naturally.
Mm-hmm. And the last is humor. And Dr. Batiste brought up laughter, and there's that saying, I've always loved that saying, laughter is the best medicine. Mm-hmm. Laughter brings us present.
Yeah.
And laughter lifts the spirit.
It brings us into a state of gratitude, or at least me.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Grateful for life.
And when I think of humor, it's also that aspect of taking life lightly. In order to be humorous about a situation, we're basically zooming out far enough to see that what can look so serious when we just zoom in, oh my God, look what's happening. When we zoom out, we go, oh, this is life playing out. And sitcoms are that, aren't they? They take these very difficult situations, but zoom us out so we can laugh at how ridiculous we can be.
Silly we can be.
When we get too focused, too narrow. So humor is also taking things lightly. So in terms of our relationship with food, not making food a do or die situation. If we listen to our wisdom, we can trust that what we're drawn to will be what nourishes us. And if we fall off the rails, if we get off track at some point, it's coming back to that wisdom that can bring us back on. And so it's really important to take our relationship with food lightly and take life lightly.
Yes. And you made the recipe for today, so you should tell them about it. It's really yummy.
We did a chocolate sweet potato pudding. it came out of my desire to put together a chocolate icing, whole food plant-based chocolate icing without any refined sweeteners in it. So it's basically cooked sweet potatoes with some date paste and chocolate and a little bit of stevia. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah, and it really tastes like chocolate pudding.
Yeah,
It's great.
And we had a friend we were sharing it with on our graduate call yesterday. And in the background of our sharing, we had this big pile of oranges. And she said, oh, wow, what about having a dish of oranges with that pudding over it? So I've been doing that. It's quite good that way. So it's wonderful just by itself, or you can put it with fruit or, you know, it's even like stiff enough for those that like Nutella. Is that what that stuff's called? The hazelnut chocolate kind of thing. You know, you put it on a corn thing or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. There's lots of ways to use it. So enjoy.
Enjoy. Thanks for joining us again.
We'll see you again next week.